I'm Rick Mooney.
And I'm Bruce Roll. Welcome to Holland Speedway's Thunder in the Hills. We're standing in front of the number 78 NASCAR Late Model Pro Stock of rookie driver John Heine. John's going to talk with us a little later on in the show, and of course, last Saturday night was the mid-season championships for all our divisions at Holland, and it were heated races. And Rick, I guess a lot has to do with the 90-degree temperature.
That could have something to do with it. Hot nights, hot races. We're going to take a look at some of the racing action, plus some track facts when Thunder in the Hills continues.
I was young in high school. I worked in the concession stands at Offerman Stadium, and we used to see the baseball games, and that was all for nothing.
And when I got out of the service, boy, it was something to go there, too. Even though we had to wait in line, but we sure enjoyed those games at Offerman Stadium. Then, of course, that was torn down, and we went to the rock pile to see the Bisons play. And now occasionally we got to go to the Pilot Field.
Since we don't get out to the games so often, we enjoy watching it now on Empire.
You know, Florence, I love watching that Empire Sports Network almost as much as I love you.
I know that, Daddy.
This past Saturday night was mid-season championship night at Holland Speedway, Bruce.
That's right, Rick, and all the fast drivers and all the top point leaders start in the front rows. But was that an advantage?
Well, let's check and find out. We'll start off by taking a look at the Challenger mid-season championship run.
13 with 2 to go.
John Price in car 89 led from wire to wire to capture the 15-lap Challenger mid-season championship. Price took advantage of the outside pole starting position to outdrag Brian Reichel for the top slot at the opening green, then had to fight his way through heavy lap traffic throughout most of the distance. Dave Nelligan, moving up from the 4th starting spot in car 27, came on after a lap 11 restart to offer a stiff challenge to Price in the late going. However, the 17-year-old Price was up to the task and held off Nelligan to record feature win number 6 of the 1991 season. Nelligan settled for second place after his strong run, with the 84 of Reichel taking third, Fred Groff in car 24 finishing 4th, and Neil Hopkins in the 1 grabbing 5th. Ken Froh led from the opening green in the 25-lap NASCAR Charger main event, with the 01 of Joe Barber and the 99 of Brian Hoffman giving chase. The 41 and 01 would continue their tussle, with a lap 7 caution flag for Mark Kazmarek interrupting the proceedings. On the restart, the 01 of Joe Barber found some running room to make the pass for the top spot. Barber, Froh, and the 53 of Mike Wiedemann would then begin to pull away from the balance of the field. However, a late race caution flag for a spinning Chuck Mock would bunch the field with just 2 laps remaining under green conditions.
Out of turn 2, Joe Barber out in front, but Kenny Froh holding on tight to the inside, racing into turn number 3.
On that last restart, the 99 of Brian Hoffman made his presence felt once again, but Barber kept his mount at the point to score the victory. Barber and Froh had been tied for the points lead going into this event, but with the win, Barber moved in front of Froh by 4 points, the difference between their first and second place race finishes. Hoffman took third in his number 99, with Wiedemann 4th, and Bob Slippy in car number 10 finishing 5th. The NASCAR Charger midseason champion, Joe Barber. And as it turns out, Bruce, this is just part 1 of what turned out to be a brother act at Holland Speedway.
It seems, Rick, like it's 1990 all over again. It seemed like every week there was a Barber and a Barber in a victory lane.
Hoffman third, Wiedemann 4th, Slippy is 5th, followed by Egan, Pocabello, Scora, Clark, and Nagel.
Larry Havens in car 43 has had one of those feast or famine seasons in limited modified action in 1991. He generally either wins or breaks. In the limited modified 20-lap midseason championship race, Havens didn't break, but he didn't win either. But he came awfully close. John Barber in the 01 led from start to finish, but Havens made Barber earn this win in a big way. Havens tried high, tried low, tried up and tried down, but Barber was always there with a counter. On the final lap, Havens tried a final attempt into turn number 3, But Larry bobbled just a little bit, allowing points leader Barber to speed on for the win. Havens had to settle for a second place finish, with the three of Don Wiley taking third. Danny O'Brien in the pink number 6 finished fourth, and Jeff Johnson in car 63 rounded out the top 5. John Barber, the limited modified mid-season champion.
You know, Rick, next year with the new rules and the rule changes for this class, it might be a different story.
That'll be something interesting to check out in the 1992 season. The passenger cars that we drive in the street are powered by gasoline, which is stored in a regular gas tank. However, for racing machines, fuel is stored in a slightly different method. Bruce had a chance to talk to late model driver Gary Schwab about fuel cells.
On this Track Fact, we're going to talk about fuel cells and fuel systems in race cars. And Gary, this isn't an actual fuel tank you would find in a passenger car, is it?
No, it's not, Bruce. It's a 22-gallon fuel cell. It is lined with a steel casing around a foam bladder that is inside this steel compartment that the cell sets in. It's like a sponge, more or less. If the thing ever got hit or crushed or one another, the sponge will absorb the fuel and keep it from splashing out.
How many gallons does fuel cell hold?
This is a 22-gallon fuel cell. They make different sizes, but we're running a 22-gallon.
Okay, the rules call for 22-gallon. If a driver that's very inventive can hide some kind of a tubing or something to keep extra gas inside here, that would be to his advantage. But then with a 30-lap race, it really wouldn't matter, would it?
No, it wouldn't. At this racetrack here, we're running 30 laps, and we probably only use 4 gallons at the most of fuel. We run the 22-gallon, for instance, if the carver wants to go to a bigger race, we can. Also, it gives us a lot of rear weight on these cars. The cars are so heavy on the front with that engine sitting up there that we do have to put some weight back here. And with the 22 gallons of fuel, it makes an extra little bit of weight that we don't have to add on to the car.
Well, Gary's a dairy farmer by trade, but I'll tell you what, folks, that's not milk and air. That's high-octane fuel.
Among the many rookie late model competitors at Holland Speedway in 1991, John Heine is unique. He's made the jump directly from enduro racing to late model pro stock racing. John, thanks for being with us on the show.
Thanks, it's a pleasure to be here.
John, you take a refreshing approach to racing as a rookie. You've learned to walk before you run. You realize that you can't win that race on the first lap, right?
Yeah, you can't go out and jump into this class and just go all out, because you'll just tear up the car and you'll just be spending every penny you got on it. And I don't have many pennies.
Well, pennies add up to dollars, and it does add up. You're having fun, though, in this class, aren't you?
Oh, yeah, except for the 2 blow motors, but after that was over with, we're having fun now.
And those are a lot of pennies, blown motors.
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell you, John, Saturday night I was walking in the pits, and I seen a line of kids around your car. You're signing autographs, you're talking to everybody. And I'm the co-host of the show, and I had to wait in line to talk to you. Now, you got a good rapport with the fans, don't you?
Yeah, I like to give the kids a little something that keeps them coming back, and I like to, if I win sometime, hear a big cheer out in the crowd from them.
John, why the jump directly from enduro racing to late models? Why not taking it slowly by stages as a number of other drivers do?
Well, I was planning to do that. I was going to look for a Charger car, but seeing how much these 2 cars I could have gotten price-wise, I got a good deal on this one, and it pays better, and you're spending about the same amount, so I thought I'd better buy a car that runs pretty good.
Okay, compare, if you will, what it's like behind the wheel of a strictly stock enduro racer to what it's like behind the wheel of a NASCAR late model pro stock.
Oh, big difference. The enduro car is so slow now. I thought it used to be fast, but now this was incredible. I got in this car the first night, and I thought I got in over my head. I just could not believe how these cars stick around. They just rocket around that track. But I've gotten used to the speed now, so I'm starting to put my foot in it a little more.
Well, I noticed that very first night at Holland Speedway, the start of the 1991 season, I was in the pit area, and as you drove back onto the pit area after your first round of hot laps, I could see your eyes wide as saucers right through your helmet visor.
Oh yeah, it was scary. I couldn't believe it. I didn't think I'd get back in there.
Now, running a late model costs money, as we've talked about. Have you found that it's been tough to actually garner the financial support necessary to run a late model and be as competitive as you've been in your rookie?
Yeah, I'm working full-time right now, and I'm still attending school. And I've gotten some money from people here and there, but there's still, we're light on cash.
All right, well, you've been doing very well so far in your first year in a late model, and we wish you the best of luck.
Well, thanks.
John Heine, rookie competitor in NASCAR Late Model Pro Stock number 78. We'll be back with more of Thunder in the Hills.
The Tennessee Connection, the #1 source for auto racing souvenirs and collectibles in Western New York and Northwestern Pennsylvania. If you want the finest racing jackets, t-shirts, racing caps, and racing souvenirs, head to the Tennessee Connection in Kennedy, New York, or call them at 267-3831. For auto racing souvenirs and collectibles, the #1 source is the Tennessee Connection. Drivers ready, go! To Transit Speedway, featuring oval racing at its finest. Come experience the fastest radio-controlled auto racing in the world on our 420-foot asphalt oval, the largest in New York State. All forms of RC competition is available, including indoor carpet and outdoor dirt oval racing, along with monster truck pulling action. Come out and enjoy the fastest growing hobby in America. Transit Speedway and Hobbies on Transit Road near Broadway in Depew.
A front row starting spot proved to be advantageous to John Price, Joe Barber, and John Barber as they all won their midseason championship runs from the front row. Will this trend continue with the Late Model Pro Stock main event?
With Art Clark and Rick Wiley in the front, we'll find out real soon, Rick.
Well, let's take a look at the Late Model Pro Stock midseason championship race.
Holland Speedway pace
On the
car
initial
off the track
attempt at a
and
start,
off the pace
Art Clark's
car.
race was a short one as Clark pulled the number 7 high and out of the racing groove, done for the evening. On the restart, Eldon King filled in the front row alongside of Rick Wiley. Wiley jumps into the lead in the early going. Let's now go to the race call.
Turn number 4 out in front. King working in second. Art looking for some running room to the inside in third. Buck Catalano working at fourth deep. Heights House fifth. Darrell Bobson, Gary Schwab, Manley Vosberg, Larry Ovid all follow. Heavy action in the pack as the drivers attempting to sort themselves out in the early going of this Late Model Pro Stock midseason championship event. Up in front, it's a trio of blue cars showing the way. Wiley in the 48, King in the 28, Arndt in the 99. Those first 3 cars now beginning to draw away just a bit from the rest of the field, and in turn number 4, Vargo getting way up high in the 17. He pulls the car down and races onward. A close call for Mike Vargo in car number 17. Wiley continues to set the pace with King and Arndt on the chase. Buck Catalano leads a tight pack of cars running for the number 4 position. Catalano in the 54 working at 4th, followed by the 91 of Heights House, the 86 of Schwab, the 3 of Bobs, the 25 of Vosberg, and the 98 of Ovid. Catalano continues, then we have trouble in turn number 3. A rough one up in turn number 3.
A major tangle in
It's
turn
Danny
number
Koonman in
3
the
found the
50.
Danny Koonman, number 50, resting atop the number 61 of Jeff
and Heights
Evans,
House
an
racing
accident
side
which
by
involved
side
a
for
total of
spots
8
4 and 5.
cars.
They touch a
All
little bit,
drivers
bottom
were
a little
okay,
bit,
but
but
the Evans
straight
61
now.
suffered considerable front-end damage. On the restart now, Wiley reassumes command as Rodney Arndt and Eldon King go at it for position number 2. Let's go back to the race call.
Cars bobbing and weaving back through the pack as Heights House, Bobson, Schwab, Ovid, Vosberg all dicing for racing room for spots 5 on back. In the meantime, up in front, the lead trio have started to pull away from the rest of the field. Once again, Wiley in the 48, Arndt in the 99, and King in the 28 have opened up a lot of ground between themselves and the 4th place number 54 of Buck Catalano. Wiley leads the parade out of turn number 4. Back in the pack, a little bobbling going on as bumper tag taking place in turns 3 and 4, but everybody keeps it straight. Everybody races on. Wiley, Arndt, and King continue to set the pace up in front. But the best action right now is in the race for the number 5 slot as Darrell Bobson takes the number 3 to the inside of the Dave Heights House 91, and some contact made. Bobson loops his racer in turn number 4, and the caution flag is out.
Darrell Bobson's spin in turn number 4 brought out another caution flag. On the restart again, Wiley at the point, and let's again go back to the race call.
The pace is back in the back. Heights House had some trouble coming out of turn number 2 and loses the number 5 slot to the Gary Schwab, number 86. So it's Wiley in first, Arndt is second, King is third, Catalano is fourth, and Schwab is fifth, and Heights House having some troubles with the handling of the 91. He again skated high, leaving turn number 2 the last time around, and has lost now another position to Larry Ovid in the 98. So something apparently not quite right with the Dave Heights House 91 is now he is passed by the 25 of Manley Vosberg. Rodney Arndt hugging the back bumper of race leader Rick Wiley as they move down the back chute. Eldon King lying in wait in the number 3 slot. The race for 4th heating up as Buck Catalano with the 54 is now being challenged by Gary Schwab in the 86. And as in the earlier portions of this race, Wiley in the 48, Arndt in the 99, and King in the 28 are slowly but surely moving away from the rest of the field. Rodney Arndt in car number 99, hugging to the rear bumper of the Rick Wiley number 48. Eldon King just a few car lengths back in third. Arndt biding his time, wondering if Rick Wiley will provide him an opportunity to make a challenge and perhaps make a pass. But right now, Wiley has not been obliging to Mr. Arndt, as Rick Wiley, holding on to the lead position, has been driving a steady race, not making any mistakes at all. And he's content to let Rodney run in second place. Manley Vosberg in the 25, and Larry Ovid in the 98 putting on a race for position 6 and 7, and the caution flag is out. We have trouble in turn number 2. We see Mike Tico on the infield grass, and on the restart, Rodney Arndt bogged just a hair coming out of turn 4 and allowed Eldon King to move up alongside in car 28, and also allowed Rick Wiley to make a nice jump on this restart. So Wiley clicks off lap 25, 5 to go. Rick Wiley has opened up about a 6 to 7 car length lead advantage over the Arndt, number 99. King back in third place. Gary Schwab bobbled a bit out of 2, running in 5th, and allows Manley Vosberg to close up in the 25. So Rick Wiley looks like he may have this one in hand, but Rodney Arndt running a strong second with Eldon King challenging in third in car number 28. Buck Catalano not too far back and fourth in the 54. Gary Schwab is fifth in the 86. Starter Dale Easterly preparing the parallel flags for race leader Rick Wiley. 2 to go in the late model midseason championship race. We're on the final 2 go-rounds in this event, and Rick Wiley looking for victory number 2 on the season. He's been a consistent runner here, having a top 5 finish virtually every week. It's been very rare that Wiley has been out of the top 5. But should he hold on for this last lap as the white flag is now out, it will be only his second feature victory of the season here at Holland Speedway. Rick Wiley now moving into turn number 3. Out of turn number 4, under the checkers, Rick Wiley with the win. Arndt is second, King finishes third, Schwab is fourth, Vosberg fifth, followed by Buck Catalano in the 54.
Our congratulations to late model pro stock midseason champion Rick Wiley. We'll be back with more of Thunder in the Hills. The engine that powers a late model pro stock at Holland Speedway is certainly different from an engine found in a normal passenger car. Bruce had a chance to talk with late model driver Gary Schwab about racing engines.
It's 1786, pure
We're here again with Gary Schwab. And Gary, you know, I can change my own oil and I can fairly well tune up my own car, but I start looking at this engine and I'm lost. Can you explain a little bit of this engine to us?
Yes, Bruce, I'm not a perfection on engines. This is a 355 cubic inch. I have it built by Gordon Automotive in Buffalo here in New York. It's basically a 350 Chevrolet engine. The block is bored out 30 thousandths. The heads, there's some work done on the heads, milling and cutting and whatnot, but the rules let us do, you know, we do what we can with the rules. The intake manifold, which sits on top of the motor below the base of the carburetor, is a stock OME manifold. We have an inch adapter below our carburetor that goes to the manifold. The carburetor is a 500 CFM 2-barrel carburetor. It has stock exhaust manifolds. 2-inch manifolds are right off a regular standard car. We can't do any cutting or grinding on the interior of these. And then when they drop out of the exhaust, we can go to, it's got to come out 2 inches, and then we can step it up to 2 or 3 to get the flow of the air through this motor. The way the rules are restricted for us for horsepower here, with a 2-barrel carburetor, the stock exhaust, it keeps the power down to, so we aren't creating a lot of speeds out there. Each year at this track, there's records broken, and that's why we have the rules, to keep it safe. I mean, we can go out there and go as fast as we want to, but you know, there's some safety aspect, and also not safety, the cost of this racing. The more we do to these motors, the more expensive it will cost us, and it's one way of keeping the cost down. The front end of the motor has a stock water pumps, stock harmonic balancer. It's stock electronic ignition on it. It's pretty much a standard piece of equipment here, you know, but once you get into it internally, there's, you know, a lot of fine things that a so-called doctor might do.
Well, Gary, if you were to blow this engine up, and I hope it doesn't happen to you, but if you did blow this engine up, what would it cost to rebuild this or replace this engine?
Well, we're looking completely, you know, a lot of things, if this happens to blow, we may only blow the bottom end. Say we do something internally that might not damage the whole part of the motor. The cost would be different. Now, like I said, I have this built at Gordon Automotive. I don't do any of the work on it myself at all. So it would cost me, as a driver, a little bit more money to have this done. I mean, we all know the costs of machine work and stuff, but basically a complete motor from top to bottom would run close to $9,000 to $10,000.
You heard it, folks, $9,000 to $10,000. To Gary Schwab and his sponsors, I suppose that's low. To me, a backyard mechanic, I wouldn't want to attempt it.
It's time to look at the current Holland Speedway point standings, with double points having been awarded for this past 242 points.
In the NASCAR Charger standings, first place, Joe Barber. Second place, Kenny Froh. And in third place, Flying Brian Hoffman.
And in the entry-level Challenger division, your points leader is Brian Reichel. Second, John Price. Third place is Dave Nelligan.
Upcoming events here at Holland Speedway include next Saturday, July 27th, Village Pub and Hamburg Jeep Eagle Night with a 5-star event.
We'll be back next week with another edition of Thunder in the Hills. Until then, I'm Rick Mooney.
And I'm Bruce Roll.
We'll see you at the races.